gotta have to make dunks with a little paisley print going on, and lots of pristine jewelers and Sam Diamond jewelers. Oh, my Vandals.
Ollie! To be that mother. Ooh, I'm gonna throw one to the back so y'all can. Oh, goodness. And I got my Van Cleefs Christmas gift from my.
For the past several months, many people have been quietly watching ClaressaShields. This is not because they dislike her or want to see her fail, but because her choices and public moments often leave them confused. When the same type of confusion keeps appearing, people naturally begin to wonder if something deeper is happening beneath the surface. They start looking beyond headlines and short clips, trying to understand the emotional story behind the actions. It's important to be clear from the start. This is not a medical judgment or a diagnosis of any kind. It's simply an observation of patterns that play out publicly and how audiences interpret them. The goal isn't to shame or attack, but to explain why so many people feel drawn into discussing her behavior. One thing many observers point out is how strongly criticism seems to land. Small comments can quickly spark intense reactions, turning minor moments into major public scenes. For some, attention can slowly start to feel like proof of care. Being seen can begin to feel the same as being valued. When those ideas blur together, emotions rise and fall very visibly. What might usually stay private ends up unfolding online, inviting opinions from strangers. Some viewers see Claressa as confident, bold, and unapologetically strong. Others wonder if that outward strength sometimes masks emotional pressure that has been building over time. There's a real difference between appearing powerful and feeling secure. Many high-achieving people, especially those who didn't grow up with consistent emotional support, look outward for reassurance. When the response they receive doesn't meet their expectations, disappointment can hit hard. None of this takes away from Claressa's accomplishments. Her talent, discipline, and legacy in boxing are undeniable. Still, many believe her personal life paints a more complicated picture, where relationships, identity, and public validation often overlap, creating tension rather than.
Thing I do, they're like, oh, she did this because of this person. She did that because of that person. If I wear my hair a certain way, if I wear some clothes, y'all say I'm copying somebody else. But then y'all say in the same breath, but she can't dress. Most of the stuff I go to the store and pick out myself and put it on. So I'm not copying nobody. But as far as in me rapping, go on my YouTube. I'm gonna put the link on here. I've been rapping for almost 3 years. I didn't just start this. I've been rapping. Why? Because I do what the hell I want to do. Like I've been doing what I want to do forever. I got rap videos. I've been in the studio. I got songs. I had a listening party the week of my fight. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Nobody is making me do anything. And I'm not trying to be like nobody because, baby, GWOAT is original. The GWOAT is original. I'm the first woman to ever use the word GWOAT. I'm original in everything I do.
Before her relationship with Papoose, Claressa was engaged to a man named Tony Rich, a personal trainer from Flint, Michigan. People who followed that phase of her life often describe him as fitting a familiar pattern, very active online, image-focused, and comfortable being seen alongside her as her career was rapidly rising. During that time, Claressa's life was filled with major opportunities, intense public attention, and emotional highs and lows. Even then, questions followed the relationship. Some believed Tony may have been involved with someone else when they first got together, and over time Claressa became the primary, publicly recognized partner. What stood out to many observers was the imbalance they felt existed between them. Claressa appeared to have stronger financial stability and seemed to invest heavily in the relationship, not just with money, but with emotional labor, planning, and long-term vision. While only they know what truly happened privately, the pattern feels familiar to those watching her now. A highly driven woman steps into the role of provider and emotional anchor, while the man beside her appears less established in his own direction. Psychologically, this dynamic is often described as one person carrying most of the emotional and practical weight, constantly reassuring, fixing, and stabilizing the relationship. Over time, that role can become exhausting, even if it begins with genuine care. When people look at Claressa's relationship with Papoose, some believe they see a similar shape forming. From the outside, it can seem like she is once again giving more than she receives, while also engaging in public comparison, particularly involving Remy Ma. Many of her visible moments feel less about private happiness and more about sending messages outward. For someone who relies heavily on external validation, this can intensify quickly. Supporting others can start to feel like proof of worth, and earning love can feel safer than trusting. It will remain. Claressa has spoken openly about growing up without consistent emotional security, and experiences like that often shape adult attachment. The concern many express is not about her success or strength, but whether her public presentation reflects confidence or compensation driven by deeper emotional pressure.
Speaking on me, and they be having my thing in their mouth. This is what I see. They be having this is my thing. This is my dick, and this they mouth. All on it, all on my, bro. Get off my dick, bro.
Some sources claim that Tony Rich may have been romantically linked to Nigeria while he and Claressa were together, while others suggest that Claressa and Nigeria themselves were involved in a romantic way. Nigeria is also said to have been brought into Claressa's relationship with Tony as a third person. These unverified claims, if true, could point to a pattern called triangulation, where a relationship relies on a third party instead of building direct trust between partners. Observers note similar dynamics in Claressa's current relationship, where public validation often comes through comparison, especially with Remy Ma. Intimacy seems less about private connection and more about public positioning, who looks better, who appears more desired, and who wins in the eyes of the audience. Relationships can start to feel performative, with every post, comment, and move sending a message rather than reflecting personal choice. At the core, many wonder whether Claressa is seeking love or reassurance, connection or proof. Her life unfolds under intense scrutiny, and fans try to make sense of patterns in how her relationships start, evolve, and respond to challenges.
That girl gay. Why you froze right there though? Okay, well,
Ain't no trying, you doing it.
My friend has a present for you.
give me 1 second. Hold on.
For the past several months, many people have been quietly watching ClaressaShields, not out of dislike, but because her public choices often leave them puzzled. Repeated patterns of behavior make people wonder if something deeper is happening beneath the surface. Observers look beyond headlines and short clips, trying to understand the emotional story behind her actions. This is not a medical judgment, nor an attempt to label her, but an analysis of public behavior. The goal is to explain why so many feel drawn into this ongoing conversation. Claressa often responds strongly to criticism. Small comments can trigger heated reactions. Attention can start to feel like proof of care, being seen can feel like being valued, and emotions rise and fall very visibly. Observers note the difference between appearing powerful and feeling secure. Many successful people who grew up without steady support sometimes look outward for reassurance. When reactions do not meet expectations, disappointment can hit quickly. Claressa's talent and achievements are undeniable, but her personal life suggests a more complicated story. Romantic bonds, friendships, and personal identity sometimes blend, creating tension instead of peace. During her engagement to Tony Rich, a personal trainer from Flint, Michigan, Claressa appeared to be the financially and emotionally stronger partner, supporting his public image and helping grow shared plans. Observers note this pattern persists in her current relationship with Papoose. Relationships where one partner carries most of the emotional and practical weight can become tiring over time, even if they start with care and loyalty. Comparisons, especially to Remy Ma, often dominate public perception, creating pressure to prove worth and earn affection externally. Claressa grew up in an environment where steady support was not always present, which can influence future relational patterns. Public displays of confidence. Style choices and attention-seeking behavior can reflect a need for reassurance rather than insecurity. Observers also focus on Nigeria, her stylist and close companion, whose presence blurs professional and personal boundaries. Some claims suggest Nigeria may have been romantically linked to Tony, or even Claressa herself, creating triangulation, where a third party influences the relationship dynamic. Public validation often occurs through contrast to others, and intimacy can feel performative. People wonder whether Claressa is seeking love or reassurance, connection or proof. Repeated copying of Remy Ma's style, clothing, posture, and confidence appears less about admiration and more about seeking reassurance. Self-praise phrases like, "I'm that girl," or "I'm not bothered," may signal attempts to convince oneself of worth rather than reflect true confidence. Nigeria's involvement may amplify comparison rather than provide support. Healthy partnerships depend on clear boundaries, communication, and emotional security. Without these, relationships become stages rather than spaces for connection, and attention replaces rest. Public criticism hits hard when self-worth depends on external reactions. Silence feels like rejection, praise fleeting. Despite all this, Claressa's accomplishments remain real. Her discipline, work ethic, and success are clear. Yet without inner stability, even winning can feel empty. Comparisons, especially to someone linked to her partner, shift focus from "who am I?" to "am I enough?" True security comes from knowing oneself when no one is watching, not from being the loudest or most talked about person in the room. Every post, outfit, and public move becomes part of a performance, driven by a central need for reassurance and a steady sense of self.